On the line with me is Sarah Jakes Roberts. When I tell you I'm so excited about this interview, how are you, sister?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, listen, we have been following your journey and just love how God is using you to empower women. Now, I know on Tuesday you just launched an amazing book called Woman Evolve. Let's talk about that. Where did the inspiration come from?
Believe it or not, the inspiration for Woman Evolve came from Eve, like the bad girl of the Bible who we often skip over and ignore. I was studying her life after having said that when I get to heaven I'm gonna have to pull her to the side and ask her girl, what were you doing? But I was studying her life and I just saw things so much differently. I saw her as a woman who knew better but didn't do better and was living in a world that was bigger than her and trying to figure out how to make her way. And instantly I saw myself in so many women. And I wanted to show them how Eve ends up having redemption and recovery and how we can too if we're willing to do the work.
I love how you are very transparent with regards to your life. Your dad, being Bishop T.D. Jakes, puts you guys in such a limelight. Even as children, people have been watching you and your siblings, and there's been some scrutiny behind it. But you've been really transparent in being able to turn those stories into something more productive, which is why I think that women relate to you. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, to your point, we grew up in a spotlight, and that was in Dallas and within our church family. I'm kind of thankful that I got pregnant when I did, because had I gotten pregnant in this age, it would have been on social media and everywhere. I got pregnant at 13. I had my son at 14 years old and really spent almost 10 years just in this cycle of toxic relationships and trying to determine if I had any worth or value after that. And I shared those lessons and journeys along the way, and I do think that the more that women felt understood, seen, that they were willing to be challenged to grow. And we've been growing together for many years. Although some people are new to my journey, there's been a core community that's been growing with me for a long time.
Absolutely. And again, I love how you've been able to turn your story into something more positive because more can relate than can turn their nose down. Like, trust me, there's so many of us that says, yes, that was me. That was me. So, and I think that's why people really gravitate to your ministry. I mean, I'm watching you and listening on the treadmill, like in places that are
Wow.
untraditional. I think that's the kind of ministry that you have. Do you feel that way?
I do, and I can't quite figure out how it became that way. I guess it's honestly and truly just a God thing, because I just knew that as people started kind of joining in on my journey and watching and following, and we were growing together, that I just wanted to be myself, which means that, if I'm like, girl, you are out here being raggedy and God doesn't want that for your life, that is exactly how I would say it to people. I think it feels very relatable, but it also does allow you to have access to people's heart, and then they trust you with their journey.
So you parallel this book, Woman Evolved, to Eve. What is it that you'd like women to get from it? Because you have this kind of mentality that will shake us into reality. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
in your ministry, I can see you say, "Get up!" Like stop! Like shut up! Like do this, right? I can
In
see
the
you say,
most loving way, but yes, all of those things, I was penalizing Eve and penalizing myself for knowing better and not doing better. It wasn't until I dared to embrace myself and embrace Eve that I thought that I could become the woman that God had in mind. It's one thing to hear you're fearfully and wonderfully made, but if you don't believe that and you have evidence that contradicts that, it's difficult to figure out how you move into that. So Woman Evolve is me really laying out this manual from how we go to being stuck in old thoughts and patterns and ways of showing up in the world and move into the fullness and limitless potential that is available to us when we partner with God. And I felt like women want to do it, they're hungry for it, but they don't always know how. And I wanted to give them a how in Woman Evolve.
thank you so much for it too. The book has already been released. I saw Tuesday you did a huge launch, so everybody can pick it up wherever books are sold. Make sure you get it for your friends. Make it a book study. You know, even my young adults really embrace this type of teaching. So we want to make sure that millennials, all generations, is finding this book and I'm supporting you on it. So I really appreciate it. Are you coming to the DMV anytime soon?
I think it's going to have to be 2022, but the DMV showed me so much love that I just like want to buy a little apartment there and just like come and kick it with y'all all the time. But 2022, I'm hoping to really come back and visit.
I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out too. It's Sarah Jakes Roberts, everybody, and her brand new book is called Woman Evolve. Tell us how to stay in touch with you.
You can follow me on all the socials. I'm at Sarah with an H and Jakes Roberts on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, the best way to really get plugged in right now is getting that book.
Get the book, guys, Woman Evolve by Sarah Jakes Roberts. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you calling.
My pleasure.
That's Sarah Jakes Roberts on Praise.